Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And I heard there is a big announcement from Nikon on September 10th, and it may be a very video-centric camera. Let's talk about it. First, let's head to nikonrumors.com, where I read this article about the upcoming announcement from Nikon. So here we are at nikonrumors.com, and check out this article. It was just written a few days ago, and it says Nikon announcement is rumored for September 10th, and it may be the Nikon Zr video-oriented camera. Okay, me personally, I hope so. But let's read on. So it says it's rumored to have another new product announcement on or around September 10th, possibly for the rumored Nikon Zr video-oriented camera. Okay, R for red for the tech that's going to be inside this camera. So it says not a new red camera with Z mount. Okay, an entirely new camera. That's what I've been hearing, especially if you've been following nikonrumors.com. They've been talking about this or sprinkling this rumor throughout the year, quite honestly. So it says that this reporter says, I already reported the new model will be based on the Z6 Mark III, so it'll have the same sensor. So it's a hybrid stack sensor there, but the camera body will have a completely new video-oriented design. No EVF. Brick-shaped with a very large LCD screen and without pentaprism and EVF. A combination of basically a box model camera. Okay, that's what it's kind of looking like to me. Let's take a second to talk about why this matters, or a camera like this even matters. Well, first of all, this is going to be the first time that Nikon has fully integrated Nikon and Red technology together in one system. This will be, it's going to be the biggest push into the video cinema market more than ever. Rather than just acquiring an entirely brand, they're creating an entirely new product that I think is going to be very, very competitive, based off of the fantastic performance and the technology that's built into Nikon Z cameras, and it just keeps getting better through firmware updates. The focusing systems are getting better. The sensor technology, the tech alone is getting better, especially for stills, and it's dramatically improved for video too. But then you have Red technology built into color codecs, the dynamic range, and a lot of the bit rate, and a lot of other things that are going to be fantastic for cinematographers and filmmakers. Going to be pushed together. That's really going to be advantageous when, especially if you're a smaller production crew and you need a camera that can keep up, really. And what I mean by that is that you may not always have a focus puller. So having someone who can shoot using autofocus, using a cinema camera is going to be clutch. I mean, Blackmagic kind of thought about that when they released a firmware update to have a couple of their cameras shoot autofocus. So that lets you know that's what the industry is thinking about, is saying, okay, how do we, yes, you can still have the ability to shoot manual, and a lot of fantastic cine lenses are still manual, but a lot of people, a lot of consumers are going to expect and want that autofocus capability. So having that Red technology and the color science, as well as the autofocusing performance of Nikon, is going to be a fantastic camera. A Nikon VR would be a perfect niche between Red cinema cameras and the run and gun mirrorless cameras. And I think this is going to be extremely appealing for indie filmmakers, smaller production crews, or solo video content creators. Okay, so as many of you know, this is all just rumors, and some of you are going to remind me down below. Now let's speculate over the specs. So first of all, as it's rumored, it's supposed to have the same sensor as the Nikon Z6 Mark III. Now for me, I've shot photos and videos with it countless times, never had an issue with either subject, right? Whether it be motion or still subjects, okay? So I definitely won't be bothered by it. Knowing that it has that sensor, I'm going to assume the autofocus will be similar performance, if not a little better. And that is going to be a serious plus having a cinema camera. Because me personally, a lot of times I'm shooting solo. So I'd like to be able to have the option of going to manual or autofocus when it comes to my camera. The other thing is that with the Nikon Z6 Mark III, you're going to be able to shoot up to 6K and 4K. Now, I do hope that we could do 4K 120, zero crop. And if they're really nice, they'll do open gate, because Red cameras have open gate, Panasonic has open gate. They're able to do it for $2,000 cameras. I think the Lumix S5 Mark II. So there's no way that they could not add open gate to a video oriented camera. It needs to have open gate. Put it in there. I'm hoping it has unlimited record time, at least at 4K. That would be a real nice touch as well. If this is a box style cinema camera, for me, I'm gonna love it. Because usually a lot of the box style, like the other Red cameras, you could plop them right on a gimbal and do all sorts of damage with the thing. And it's very modular. And me personally, that's what I'm looking for in my next camera. I have the Z6 Mark III. I have the Z8. So I'm pretty well covered when it comes to photos or video, quite honestly, with these cameras. But me, I want a camera that I could bring on a film set, and that it needs to be a box style camera. I don't need an EVF, so when it said it doesn't have an EVF, that just or potentially won't have an EVF, that just makes me happy, because I don't want a serious filmmaking camera that's basically a powerful mirrorless camera. I'm done with it. I want a camera that's dedicated to video that's from Nikon. Now, it did mention that it will have a bigger screen. I'm not sure what that means. Will it be just a big screen on the top like Red cameras already have? Or will it be a big screen on the side like Blackmagic Pixis cameras have, which is a pro and a con? But when I use a camera for filmmaking or cinematography or videography, I always attach a 5-inch or 7-inch external field monitor to it anyway. So having one on the camera itself is just that much more of a plus. Maybe I can see what's through the lens, through the monitor itself, and then have the menu system accessible up top or on the view on the screen on the camera. That could be really helpful for me, at least, to get to the menu system that much faster and still be able to frame my shot. Now let's talk about the potential ports. Of course, I need a full HDMI, maybe a SDI port or two would be really cool. I mean, the Pixis did it for $3,000, so I can't see why they can't at least add one on this camera. Definitely CFX Express Type B slot, at least one would be super sweet. If they did dual slot, if you could record 2 files and maybe put it on the second card, that could be really cool too. Basically the basic, and I hope this runs off of V-mount battery. Maybe Nikon will make a proprietary battery for it, but I hope that you could still power this camera using a V-mount, kind of like the Komodo X, because that to me is what separates it. Why I would never look at the original Komodo. I'll go straight to the Komodo X because I like that internal, or how can you say, it has the V-mount plate built into the camera. I really like that feature a whole lot, because once you start shooting video with V-mount, it's hard to go back to the little batteries. It really is. I don't want to have to pack 8 batteries for the shoot. I carry 2 V-mount batteries and I'm done for the whole day. And the other huge benefit of this is that with that V-mount, I could power all my accessories. So now let's talk about the most important factor about the Nikon Zr. Let's talk about the price. I'm thinking a camera like this, and we're talking about the perfect bridge camera, if you will, between Nikon Z mirrorless and Red cinema cameras. So I'm going to say $3,000. Now, why do I say that? Because they're going to want to use this camera to bridge Z users and get them into Red cinema camera users. So you already have the Komodo, and that's at $3,000, but it's a bit long in the tooth. Matter of fact, too long, in my opinion. All right. If I was going to get the Komodo, it'd be the Komodo X. But nonetheless, you already have that camera and they discounted it last year, meaning they want to get rid of that inventory. So I'm thinking this camera would be a perfect replacement of that. If it had the red tech, codecs, etc., with Nikon Z autofocusing and performance for a solo shooter, indie video creators, etc., $3,000 would be a sweet spot, a chef's kiss spot. I think once you're reaching above 4, you're pushing people out of the position of what I think this camera should be in, which is, hey, let me introduce you to the red system. And if you start getting to the 4 and the 5, etc., now at $5,000, I could go look at the Pixis 12K. At $5,000, or technically it's $5,500 because of US tariff, it becomes a very enticing deal to get a Pixis 12K camera. Keep it low. Keep it under 4. I'm going to say 3. 3,000 I think would be a phenomenal price for an entry-level red camera. Basically is what I believe this is going to be. Okay? I think it'll be more than... I think it won't be entry-level because if it has Nikon autofocus and performance, but yet red delivery and quality, it's not so entry-level, really, okay? I think a lot of people who would want to get the Komodo X may jump on this, okay, just due to the extra performance features of this camera and newer technology, right? Again, the Komodo X, a little longer in a tooth. Excellent cameras, but a little bit longer in a tooth. But if you get that in this, I think people are going to jump on this. So, but they have to keep the price point around $3,000 so that a lot of new people will want to get, that have wanted to jump into the red system, feel more comfortable doing so, at the same time not having to replace all their Z-mount lenses. So that's just my take on the price. Let me know what you think of the price. How much do you think this camera should go for? Now, of course, these are just a few basic features that just came to mind as to what I hope a camera like this would have. Now, what features do you want to see inside the Nikon Zr if it was an actual video or / cinema camera? Let me know what you think down below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, smash that like and everything else, hit that subscribe, and now there's a new feature. Make sure you give this video a hype up, please. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.